What's up, everybody? It's 2023. We've been away for a while, but we've been talking behind the scenes for some time. We're joined today by the amazing Vasia, who is the Crypt gal and the one of the key members of the Crypt gallery. And behind the scenes, we've been chatting about a lot of different activations and projects and the synergies that align the Crypt gallery and NFT culture. And it just made sense for us to kind of come together and combine forces in a lot of different ways and really start to focus on, the art and artists and find ways to not only display, the future of NFTs in the physical locations in LA, New York, um, uptown and midtown or downtown, and then all the stuff that we've been doing here on NFT culture. So fresh year, fresh start. Really excited to talk to you, Vasia. How are you? And she's frozen. I think she just bailed on us. Oh, there you are. You just cut out.
I was going to say, hey. Right now? Of course.
Got it.
I would lose connection. Awesome. No, thanks. Thank you for the intro. Definitely about time that we work together on this. And like you said, come together to talk more about the art and the community and what's going on. And super excited to be here. So for those that don't know, I guess brief intro of me. I am co-founder and CEO at the Crypt. So I work closely with King of Midtown and a lot of the artists and people we get to curate. And obviously I've gotten to know so many people in the community, which I'm grateful for. I definitely do a lot of the behind the scenes and operational things. So I am more behind the scenes, but it's definitely taught me a lot of new skills. And I've made such a large network now and grown so many relationships, including obviously with us, and excited to be rolling out a couple of things together to kind of bring in those individuals and share their stories. And I think storytelling is really important. And I think you guys do a great job in doing so. And I think, joining forces and just coming together to grow the industry and grow those relationships for others, even if they're not in person, is something we definitely want to emphasize. So I could talk more about Crypt. Should I cover what Crypt is? I honestly don't know what you asked me because it cut out with my connection.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just kind of doing the long intro because you were just like frozen. But I mean, yeah, the King of Midtown is one of the most raw, honest human beings I've ever met, and like out of nowhere has become one of my really, really close friends. And just kind of what y'all have built, and spending a lot of time together at NFT NYC last year, as well as like being out in New York a couple weeks ago and just spending some precious time with y'all. Would love to just kind of give an overview of what the Crypt Gallery is and kind of what the vision was behind that, because the activations are truly unique.
Yeah, thank you. And definitely connecting in person is, I think, just a new level of relationship building, and you can't capture that purely digital. So that's why I think the whole concept of the Crypt Gallery works so well. And that was all King of Midtown. That was Tommy. And he had that vision when he started collecting, and he did start pretty early. And it was during lockdowns where everyone is obviously missing that in-person connection. And as reopening slowly started to happen around the world, he had that concept of bringing it into an in-person location. And I mean, almost bringing that digital marketplace to life and being able to visually represent, what the NFT industry is, whether it was representing the artists and having an artist showcase, but also the collectors, because they're just as important. And then also the marketplaces, and then using that physical to also help educate people, because it's a little bit more tangible when you have a physical representation and obviously you're with people in person and you're able to talk to them. I mean, it's just a whole new level of connecting and educating. So that was kind of the original, bringing it in person. And at the time, it was also not really done in a way that I think it needed to be executed. Like, it was pretty sloppy in the beginning. And I get it, it's new, and the technology was new. There weren't that many in-person galleries or people displaying NFTs, but I feel like Tiffany's wraps, a box a certain way. Like, you can't be trying to explain to someone why this NFT sold for X dollar amount when it's like thrown up on a TV with the wire exposed and just plugged in. And like, just very sloppy. So another huge component that we take super seriously at the Crypt is making sure it's aesthetically like pleasing, it's Instagrammable. Like we want people to stop and really appreciate the aesthetics of it and bring in almost like a museum aspect where there's literature on the walls and there's something educational to help explain to people who might not know what they're looking at exactly. So that was also important. And obviously the key to Crypt is the fact that we're the first NFT gallery in hospitality. And hospitality, meaning hotels, have always emphasized and invested in art. It's obviously a really high traffic location where the audience it's a revolving door. It's open 24/7. You have people coming in to stay as guests in the hotel because they're here for just pleasure. It's families, it's business people coming. Or you have the opposite of everyone who walks through that hotel is trying to go to the rooftop because there's a club upstairs. They're trying to go to the pool. They're trying to go to all the restaurants on property. So just the crazy amount of foot traffic, it's like a Times Square to a certain extent. And we basically replaced some of the physical artworks with these digital screens and try to embed it in a very like natural, organic, and aesthetically pleasing kind of way to normalize it. And we see so many people like talking about NFTs, and the Marriott did their NFT room. I don't know if you heard about that. And you're allowed to buy rooms with crypto and NFTs, but no one knows what the heck that is. Like my parents don't know, my siblings have no idea what exactly that is. And it's still so fresh that it's like, I think to me, the wrong approach. And I mean, I know you love to emphasize obviously the importance of art. Like art is the onboarder, and it's not crypto, and it's not going to be these other mediums. It's art anyone can look at any age, any language that they speak, and they can somehow find a connection. And it's embedding it in mainstream locations where you're putting it in someone's face and they might not know it's an NFT, but they're going to eventually realize like what's going on. So I think that's kind of a lot of what Crypt does in the physical aspect. We definitely do a lot of behind the scenes. I feel like we, between curations and advisement, and it's like when people ask what is Crypt, it's just like such a long list. But it's definitely the focus of IRL in that aspect. So yeah, I went on a tangent. I don't know if that was.
No, it's great. I think it's I've been collecting NFTs for years, and like even going to see the art at the Crypt Gallery, it makes it real, right? Like I think that the way that you all have set up the displays and the activations really is unique in that like you're looking at something that is art and it's beautiful and it's real. And I agree with you. I think like art is always the first. Like whenever new technology is innovated, like the art is like the thing that gets played with first, right? Artists are reckless. They try new mediums. And so like seeing what happens kind of with that space, it's just kind of refreshing. And like it's so amazing to me, like being at NFT NYC last year and staying at Dream and like not saying anything, because there's people that are, they work for Google, they work for all these companies. Like Dream Hotel is like one of those hotels that like all the Silicon Valley people stay at when they come to NYC. And like seeing them pause there to look at something new that they've never seen and appreciate the art, agnostic of like it being on the blockchain, but just these beautiful art pieces on these beautiful screens. And it's like the onboarding mechanics of kind of what that represents is like it's an inspiration, and it's like so cool to just see kind of what you guys have been building. And I mean, for everyone from Liam Payne and Ice Cube to like working with Chevrolet like you did at NFT NYC, like everyone is really leaning on this type of activation to like experiment with the space. And so it's so cool to look at what you and King of Midtown have built over the last couple of years.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's like it's really cool like that. It how quickly things have come and moved, and then like simultaneously kind of with what's happening there. It's like you get to meet and feature so many artists that you guys get to drop on. You do drops on Nifty Gateway. You've done drops on Ninfa. You're working with Mike, co-founder of NFT Culture. You're going to start doing, Crypt Gallery drops on your own, which is going to be really cool. So like, how do you pick the artists that you want to work with? And like, what's really interesting is like, there's so many, and I love Nifty Gateway and I love the founders and I love what they've done, but they've also made some mistakes in some of the curation and like opening it up too wide and letting so many people in that a lot of drops aren't performing like they should be on Nifty Gateway, but the drops that you and the King do like still do well. So how do you come up with your method of deciding which artists y'all want to work with, and like what are those key ingredients for someone to be considered by you and King of being worthy of kind of being part of the platform?
Um, Thank you for all of that. And honestly, that's all what we're so grateful for it. Like there's no other way to put it. Like it's so humbling to see that, the drops perform that way. And I mean, as a curator too, like come drop time, we're probably more nervous than some of the artists sometimes. And I don't know. I mean, we don't take it for granted. And that's something I just want to make clear. And in terms of Nifty, I mean, being in a new industry, I think we all like make mistakes, or maybe shouldn't have done certain things. I agree with you though, and it is kind of unfortunate. I'm not a fan of how saturated I think it feels right now, and I think it lost kind of its spark. In terms of artists, though, I mean, there's a couple components. One thing, obviously, Tommy is a collector, and he just has such a good memory. Like he will go through and look at art, and even if it's not collecting that person yet, he's like watching and following them. I mean, I think that all artists that we've dropped with, there has to be some kind of engagement. Like you can't just, that's so important to us. Besides obviously the aesthetics and the artwork, like we need to like it, obviously. But I think it's a lot about the individual behind the art, because we're not just doing a one-time drop with you and then, hope the art is nice and that's, it does well that one time. Like we're tying our name with you. And that's kind of how we treat all of these things. Like we put our brand name next to you. We are going to continue to help you behind the scenes, whether it's you calling up in conversation or just whatever the case is. We consider it more of like a family there, and we take it more seriously. So if you're not engaging in the community, if you're not supporting other artists, if you're not, waking up every day and just, giving something, I think it's a little bit different. And a lot of the people that we've dropped with, we either develop personal relationships with, and it just wants me to support that artist even more. And then I think the other aspect is, I don't know. I mean, we curate a range. It's not just, I think it's like different, I don't want to say tiers of artists, but it kind of is. It's like the rising talent. And then there might be people that are slightly more established, whether they're coming with a huge physical, like we've done Renee and Maquilismos, who's actually right behind me on the skull. He has a huge, he's a painter. He has a huge audience in the physical sense in the traditional art world. But in terms of, we introduce him to NFTs. So I think it could be either kind of standing. We do curate rising talent. And I mean, one of my favorite drops that we did was Diana and Nolan, Diana is our girl that does all the reels. Like she makes these fire social media reels for us whenever we promote and market a drop, and having that connection with her, working with her so closely. Like I just love her personality and who she is, and the story with her and her boyfriend and how they met with NFTs, and she moved to another country to be with him. Like, so it just kind of naturally, it came up. It's like, I want to curate you. Like I want to give you that limelight. And that's what we try to do with all of the artists, especially when it's a Crypt gallery curated and not necessarily a Kingdom Attack curation. Our motto is almost like becoming the people's gallery, where we don't want to be the traditional gallery that works with 10, 15 artists, and that's more exclusive, and that's kind of it. And it's almost like, can't join our club. We want to give it to everybody, and it's a platform that we are grateful to have. We want to continue giving people the opportunity to, have a drop with us. And that's your chance to kind of get a different kind of promotion and marketing, and, the emphasis that we place on all of that. And hopefully it'll help, skyrocket or take you into another trajectory. And there's certain artists we might work more closely with. We don't have to work as closely with everybody, but that's kind of the way that we like to approach it. And again, just using our platform to share the love and give as much exposure. I love watching these old videos. And give as many people the exposure and opportunity as we can. So that's kind of a long answer to your question, but
No, I mean, it's awesome. And I think like it's really cool to see the way that y'all have approached it. You've intentionally somewhat subverted kind of what the traditional galleries look like. And you intentionally went to hospitality. And like when you think about like the overlap between hospitality and art, like there's definitely a big overlap. And then you think about kind of all these beautiful screens and everything that happens, it's definitely, very, very culturally different. And I think like that's one of the areas that we all started vibing, was like our vision of the culture and kind of the
Yeah.
responsibility that comes from it. It's just really exciting, just to see the success that y'all have had. And I guess, with that, it's like, as we continue to do the symbiosis between us and everything that's happening, like you build so many relationships with artists and have such interesting views. Like when we were chatting, it's like, hey, let's restart the YouTube, let's start the podcast back up. And you are excited, I think, from our conversations
I
to
am.
really like
Yeah.
help us and really not only continue to build your brand as a futurist and visionary for the NFTs as a whole, but also tell really compelling stories and work with these artists to really double click down in a way that we've tried a few times and haven't been consistent, but you have been consistently consistent with what y'all have done with the Crypt Gallery. And so using the NFT culture platform to continue to promote these artists, like we're incredibly thankful. And like for me, it's just we wanted to make there's already videos in the can, as they say, but we wanted to make sure we got out ahead so people aren't like, who's this new person
Yeah.
that's dropping some stuff. And hopefully we start to do more regular stuff with King and Ross and others, and bring back the Friday happy hour with Mike, John, and Rob, and just like really just restart, because the bear market's over and like the excitement's kind of back in the community. So
Totally.
really looking forward to this year.
No, same. And I think it's about time. Like we all, I think, have our strengths and we can execute certain things to such a high level. But when we come together, it's like even better. I mean, it's a team effort, and I think we've always viewed it as that. And being able to just come together, I think it's gonna just take the momentum to another level. And I love the fact of interviewing artists or sitting down, just having conversations like this one, because I will say it over and over, and like our Discord knows how much I preach about the importance of artists just telling their story. Like it's a marketing and branding, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, as a collector, I will want to advocate for you so much more. I will want to collect you so much more if I have that emotional attachment, and I want to know people's stories. And it's crazy how diverse. I've never seen any industry like this. Like everyone's backgrounds are so different. I mean, I used to be in education. I taught elementary school. Like that's my background, and it sounds so random. Most people assume I come from fine art and like have this. Like I used to teach children, and I loved it, and I still have love for it. But this just, I think, is another level of teaching. I mean, I feel like it's so full circle, ironically. But yeah, I think it's going to be super exciting the next couple of months of what we're rolling out and leading up to NFT NYC, which is even more exciting news to announce down the line. But yeah, thanks for just inviting me on and having me be a part of it.
No, absolutely. I can't wait to just start teasing and sharing all of the stuff that y'all are doing for NFT NYC, and
Yeah.
talking more about the art and artists. And we're incredibly thankful for the friendship and partnership with you and the Crypt Gallery and the King of Midtown, and it really, excited to see what comes from this. And I do have to give a shout out. Silly Gabe is doing a drop today
Oh, is
on.
it?
He's doing a drop here in a couple hours on Nifty Gateway, or actually
Oh,
like
check.
really quick. I'm gonna just give him a plug because he is a
Yeah.
good friend of the show. And when we are critical in some instances of some of the stuff that's been going on, but the curated drops from Nifty Gateway are still really awesome. And
Oh,
a lot of
yeah.
the stuff that Silly Gabe's done is really really cool. And it's all affordable pieces, so it's dropping in 2.5 hours. One of the biggest early names. He's partnered with Zed. He has partnered with Ice Cube as well, so shout out to him. And it should be a good one later this evening.
I actually like had seen it on Instagram. He was posting it this week. It's sick. And again, like I don't know if many people know, but I'm pretty sure Silly Gabe does all the visuals for Zed and the concerts and stuff, like the drones, like all the Vegas shows, like incredible work. And what he did for Ice Cube too with Crenshaw, like that whole collection, and we had it up at the Crypt, and it was just seriously like such an incredible artist and very sweet guy. yeah, Crypt definitely has a lot of love for Sillygape too. So I'm excited. Thank you for telling me, because I didn't realize it was tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a spaces in like an hour as well. So anyone who has watched this live, but Vasia, this is going to be so much fun. I'm
Excited.
really excited and jacked for 23. Being in New York with you last week
Same.
was a pleasure, and it kind of just got us all really excited about the future. So everyone, buckle up, because we're going to have a lot more of this coming soon. Any final thoughts?
No, I think you got it. 2023 is the year of the IRL. Like, this is it. Get ready, everybody. There's a lot coming.
Hell yeah, let's go. All right,
Awesome.
everyone, have a good one.